Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 1 hour. India votes in the third phase of parliamentary election. 93 seats up for grabs across 11 states and union territories. Israel vows to continue Rafah operation even after Hamas sends its response to the ceasefire deal. Says terms did not meet its demands. Qatari delegation will head to Cairo on Tuesday to resume indirect negotiations. Vladimir Putin to be sworn in for the 6th term as president of Russia on Tuesday. US, most EU nations, Canada to skip the ceremony. Ukraine sees no legal ground for recognizing him. Donald Trump warned of jail time by judge in hush money trial for violating gag order. Also fined $1,000 and held in contempt of court for the 10th time on Monday. All right, let's begin by getting you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Voting began for the third phase of India's general elections in 93 constituencies spread over 11 states and union territories. With Surat already secured by the BJP unopposed, voting is taking place in 25 seats in Gujarat, 11 seats in Maharashtra, 10 seats in Uttar Pradesh, and the remaining 14 of the 28 seats in Karnataka. Voting is also taking place in constituencies in Chhattisgarh, Bihar, Assam, West Bengal, Goa, and the union territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli, and also Daman and Diu. Over 1,300 candidates are vying for victory in the third phase, with 120 of them being women. Among the prominent contenders are notable figures like Union Ministers Amit Shah, Jyotiraditya Scindia, Mansukh Mandavya, Purushottam Rupala, Prahlad Joshi and S.P. Singh Baghel. The fate of former Karnataka Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai and AIUDF Badruddin Ajmal will also be decided in this phase. In Uttar Pradesh, the current phase is important for Mulayam Singh Yadav family, with Samajwadi Party Chief Akhilesh Yadav's wife Dimple Yadav aiming to retain the Mainpuri Lok Sabha seat. Aditya Yadav, the son of SP National's General Secretary Shivpal Yadav, is making his electoral debut from the Badaun Lok Sabha seat. Also, a notable contest will take place in Maharashtra's Baramati between NCP Chief Sharad Pawar's daughter Supriya Sule and Sunetra Pawar, wife of Maharashtra Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar. In a social media post, Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged all those who are voting in today's phase to vote in record numbers. Their active participation will certainly make the elections more vibrant. He will cast his vote in Ahmedabad in a short while from now. All right, to talk more about how has the day begun in different parts of the country when we talk of polling, our correspondents are joining us. Meghna Dev is joining us from Ahmedabad in Gujarat. She will be telling us more, but before that, let's get you a quick brief up on that. The BJP secured all the 26 seats available in both 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha seats. Added to that, we will also get inputs coming in from our reporter. Jessica is joining us from Goa, and also our correspondent Akshay is joining us from Bhopal. Good morning, all three of you. Thank you for joining us this morning. To begin with, Meghna, let's talk with you when we talk of the 25 seats up for grabs today. What do we expect? Let us understand the political contest from you, and what are the key constituencies, the key seats that go to polls today?
Well, definitely, a big day, especially for Gujarat, because the whole state will be going for the polls, except for one seat, that is Surat, where already we have seen the results had been declared. But having said that, 25 seats in Gujarat will be going for the polls. Also, 5 seats on which by-polls will be taking place for the assembly constituencies, which were left vacant after the MLAs did resign from the seats. We definitely also see that today some big shots, their fate will also be decided by the voters. For we also have BJP senior leader Amit Shah contest from Gandhinagar. There is Amit Chavra from the Congress who is contesting from Anand, Mansukh Mandavia from Porbandar. We have Purushottam Rupala from Rajkot, Paresh Dhanani from Rajkot as well. And then also there is a good contest we see in the south of Gujarat, where in Bharuch, especially in Valsad, these districts are seeing good contest. Having said all of that, it's all up to the voters to decide, their candidate. But besides that, Election Commission has made all elaborate arrangements to ensure that the voters come out and vote. When we actually analyze the trends, we definitely see that when we analyze the trends from 2019, we have been seeing 2019, and then in the general elections, and then 2022 in the assembly elections of Gujarat. The urban voters, the voter turnout for urban areas has been a little less compared to the voter turnout which we see in rural areas and especially in tribal areas. Last time around, when we talk about the 2022 assembly elections in Gujarat, we did see areas like Valsad, Bharuch, Chota Udaipur record around 70 to 75% voter turnout. But while we see in Ahmedabad, the voter turnout remains somewhere around 60 to 62%. So this time around, to ensure that, especially in urban areas, the district collectorate has tried to rope in restaurants, tried to rope in industries and such people, so that they can give paid holidays to their workers and ensure that they go out and exercise their right to vote. So in urban areas especially, there is a lot of emphasis that is being laid out by the State Election Commission, so that they push voters to go out and vote. While we also speak to the voters, they say that they would also want to arrive early in the morning, because it's really hot here in Gujarat, especially in the regions of Ahmedabad and Saurashtra. These areas are really, really hot. Also in north of Gujarat, the temperatures are rising high.
All right, you're talking of the special arrangements, measures taken by the Election Commission of India to ensure that people turn out in large numbers to vote this time around. And you're also talking of how there was a trend wherein the urban population voted in lesser numbers as compared to the rural population. How do you gauge the pulse of the voters this time around, though the general elections generally concern the national interest? But what is it that you are understanding from what are the expectations of the voters? And, let us also quickly have a pan around look of the area where you're standing. Let us see how has the morning also begun there in Ahmedabad.
Well, I will not be able to pan the camera for you, because we have, security restrictions in place.
Right.
Because Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming here to cast his vote in some time from now. This is the area of Ranip where I am located currently. This falls under the Sabarmati constituency, assembly constituency, which comes under the Gandhinagar Lok Sabha constituency. So, here all the security arrangements have been put in place, while the voters are also being given a passage so that they can go from here and exercise their right to vote. Voters have already started arriving. We have been seeing some voters arrive around 6:45 in the morning, and we definitely will be seeing more voters coming in. But as you said, what are the what do we see on ground? We definitely see there is a lot of excitement, especially in the young voters, and the State Election Commission has tried their best to reach out to the voters in different ways. For example, like a video on Metaverse was doing the rounds, from where first time voters were being educated. So how can they, what will be the situation of a polling booth like? What are the steps they will have to go through? What are the officials, what will the officials demand from them? Their voter ID, their identity proof and all of that. So there have been unique initiatives also taken by the Election Commission to ensure that especially youngsters can vote. And we will also be seeing seeing all of that throughout the day on social
All
media.
right,
as well.
so yes, we will witness that throughout the day, and these are the visuals, the live visuals we're getting for you. In a short while from now, the Prime Minister will be voting in Ahmedabad as put forth by our correspondent, and these are the live visuals we are getting for you from Ahmedabad, and that was our correspondent Meghna joining us and telling us about the special measures that have been taken by the Election Commission of India to ensure that people turn out in huge numbers to vote. Let's take that forward to Akshay. Akshay, good morning. You're there in Bhopal. 9 out of the 29 seats go to polls today. Let us understand the poll contest from you. How significant is this phase for Madhya Pradesh? Also explain to us the key political contest that would be the highlight of this phase.
Well, Preeti, good morning to you and to all of our viewers. And before we get into the political context of this entire election, let me just show you how the voting procedure has started. Sir, आपने vote कर दिया है? एक बार अपनी उंगली दिखा. So, see, here voters in Bhopal have already started to cast their votes. Sir, आपका नाम?
अबरार अली.
Mr. Abrar Ali is perhaps one of the first voters here who has cast his vote. कैसा लगा आपको voting करके?
अच्छा लगा.
एक्सपीरियंस कैसा था?
सब कुछ अच्छा था, सब कुछ.
इतना जल्दी आने का कारण क्या है?
मैंने कहा जल्दी निपट जाएंगे, जल्दी हो जाएगा, गर्मी का टाइम है, इसी जल्दी आ गए थे.
So what Mr. Ali here is saying is that it's quite hot during the daytime, so he preferred to come early in the morning, and that's why he has come here to cast his vote. And to show you that what kind of preparations have been done here by the state authorities, you can see that many of the polling booths have been established inside huge schools, so that when the voters come, they don't have to stand out in the open, they don't have to stand out in direct sunlight. There are chances that people may fall sick, and that is why the arrangements that have been done is to ensure that the voting is held at a place which is covered. This is especially in case in many of the polling booths here in Bhopal. This is a school. Most of the voters have gotten inside, but you can see the large number of voters is such that many of the people are not able to get inside the school, and the queues have started to come out of the school as well, despite of the fact that many of the people are inside. There are many first-time voters. There are many voters, in fact, in the age group of 18 to 19. In fact, to give you a sense of the the scale of the election that is taking place in Madhya Pradesh, then there are 9 seats, a total of 19 district, 127 candidates, and if the number of voters, there are about 17 million voters and about over 500,000 voters in the age group of just 18 to 19. So these are the first time voters, and these are the voters perhaps who have cast their vote for the first time, who will be casting their vote for the first time. So all arrangements is in place here in Bhopal, and if you look at the key constituencies, then these are going to be obviously Bhopal. This is a capital city where there will be a contest between 2 newcomers from both BJP and Congress. A contest between the BJP and Congress candidate in Vidisha, where BJP has fielded Shivraj Singh Chauhan, former Chief Minister of the state. Congress has also fielded a former Chief Minister Digvijay Singh from Rajgarh, and then there is former Union Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia contesting from Guna constituency. So all of these constituencies are casting their ballot today, and these are the key contests that we will be looking for.
All right, Akshay, also, behind you, I see a lot of women have come out to vote in, right in the morning there, and I must say the morning has begun on a good note there in Bhopal. Let us understand more from you as to how do you gauge the pulse of the voters, as I put this question to Meghna also. Because the Lok Sabha elections, the general elections are more about the national interests of the country. So what is it that the people, the women particularly, who have turned out in large numbers, what are they expecting, and how do you read and gauge the pulse of the voters?
Well, after covering the elections here in Bhopal and interacting with the voters, interacting with the people who will be deciding their candidates today, one thing has become quite clear and quite obvious, that many of the voters are going after an agenda of development. People are asking for better roads, people are asking for better connectivity, people are asking for better employment opportunities, they're asking for lower inflation. So all of these things are in fact the most important issues. Right now we'll try and speak to some of the voters as well and try to understand that what will they be talking about, what will they be thinking about when they go and cast their vote. दीदी, आप वोट करने इतने सुबह सुबह आए, एक चीज जानना चाहता हूँ, किन मुद्दों के ऊपर वोट करने आए हैं? क्या लगता है, क्या मुद्दे हैं, आप बताइए.
क्या बताएं?
मुद्दे क्या है आपके हिसाब से सबसे जरूरी जिनके ऊपर आप वोट करेंगे?
महंगाई बेरोजगारी
So, महंगाई बेरोजगारी which means unemployment and inflation is one of the issue. आप बताइएगा
जी
क्या महिलाओं के लिए सबसे मुख्य मुद्दे क्या है भोपाल में आप लोग वोट करने
सर महंगाई है और कहते रोजगार मुद्दा है। बच्चे पढ़े लिखे हैं, उनके लिए रोजगार नहीं है।
Right.
रसोई का बजट खराब हो जाता है, महिला के लिए बहुत बड़ी दिक्कत होती है।
So, Preeti, there you
Right,
have it.
Akshay.
The issues of the people here clearly unemployment and inflation remain on the top of the agenda for many of the people here.
All right. So these were the two main, concerns of the voters today who've come out to vote. We'll keep coming back to you during the day, Akshay. At this point, Jessica, you're there with us, but at present, you stay with us for a short while. Up next, we're heading for a short break, and we will get more inputs from you after the break. And for our viewers, you're watching DD India News Hour. We're up for a short break. Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaks about his relationship with his constituency, Kashi. Indian Congolese couple open a food factory in Democratic Republic of Congo. And today marks Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's 163rd birth anniversary.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
We help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
We are in Assam. This is the tea city of India.
From down south, Tamil Nadu,
Discover the colors of democracy.
gateway to northeast of India.
Coastal state of Kerala. Watch Poll Pulse on DT India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live, and I'm Preeti, and we're tracking the important day today. It is the third phase of polling across the country today, and people have turned out in large numbers right from the starting of the morning. And we have been getting inputs coming in from our correspondent Meghna from Ahmedabad and Akshay from Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, who apprised us about how has been the voter turnout so far. The voting began at 7 a.m. And from here, we turn focus to Jessica Taneja, who is joining us from Bambolim in Goa. Jessica, good morning. Let us get more, in fact, the latest from you. How has the day begun there in Goa? And also help us understand the political contest and the key constituencies that go to polls. Yes, let us get more from you as to how do we understand the highlights of the third phase of polling.
We have with us Xavier. You gone out and voted, Xavier, and what are the issues that you have looked at this time?
Issues means we have looked at like cleanliness, which is also going on very well now, and people in Goa are very harmonious. They help each other. There is no other type of this thing. But then there are people who come from outside and do a lot of mess here, robberies, that. Which the Goa government is also handling. That's all, I would say.
Right, and this is not Goa. It is seen as a BJP bastion. How are you looking at this?
There is no problem, BJP, Congress, anybody. As long as we get our work done, that's what we are looking for. And being a senior citizen, I expect a lot of people to help out. Not sit at home only and and comment and all that. So I was the first fellow who came here before 7 o'clock, and I finished. I'm going home now.
Well, thank you for speaking with us and taking out time and telling us about the kind of issues that matter to the people of Goa. Environmental concerns at the top of the hat. If you ask me, the voters have taken this issue time and again with their elected representatives, hoping for a change and hoping for less ecological damage. Preeti.
All right, yes, they're hoping for change and less ecological damage. But then, Jessica, help us understand the political context also. All right, Jessica, I'll interrupt you here. At present, we'll take our viewers to Ahmedabad. The Prime Minister, as we told our viewers just a while back, will be voting today in Ahmedabad. And up our screens, we will have the visuals coming in from Ahmedabad, where the Prime Minister will be arriving in a short while from now. Here we see Union Home Minister Amit Shah present in Ahmedabad. And just in a short while from now, the Prime Minister will be arriving. And the crowd of people that has gathered there is a witness to the importance of the day. It is the third phase of polling today across the country, and the Prime Minister will be arriving in a short while from now to cast his vote. Just a quick recap, the BJP had secured all the 26 seats in both 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha polls. The Prime Minister is seeking a third term from Varanasi constituency. He in fact had secured a landslide victory in 2014 and 2019 Lok Sabha election. And here we see Union Home Minister Amit Shah present in Ahmedabad, where Prime Minister will be arriving in a short while from now to cast his vote. The Prime Minister has repeatedly urged the countrymen to come out in huge numbers and vote to make the process of electioneering in the country a vibrant one. And this is what in fact makes the general elections in the country the largest across the world, and how we've also seen yesterday how the Election Commission of India had welcomed foreign delegates from across the world to witness the exercise of conducting the election across India. And here up your screens we have the visuals of Ahmedabad, where the Prime Minister will be expected in just any time from now to cast his vote. So, 93 constituencies spread across 11 states and union territories will be going to polls today in the third phase of elections today. And also up your screens, we have the preparations that have been put in place in Ahmedabad. The Prime Minister is expected in just any time from now to cast his vote. Getting you more on electioneering in the country, then campaigning for the fourth phase of Lok Sabha elections scheduled for May 13 gains momentum as political leaders are holding rallies and roadshows across the nation. Also, in order to garner support for voters in favour of the party candidates, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be visiting Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra today. Prime Minister will also hold rallies in Khargone, southwest border of Madhya Pradesh, and Dhar. Later in the day, he will hold rallies in Maharashtra's Bid and Ahmednagar. Also, other parties are also crisscrossing the country to garner support for the party candidates. And also Congress leader Rahul Gandhi will be holding public rallies in Jharkhand, Singhbhum and Gumla. BSP Supremo Mayawati will hold a rally in Uttar Pradesh's Lakhimpur Kheri. Prime Minister Narendra Modi gave an interview to a private news channel on Monday in which he called Varanasi his mother and emphasized that his relationship with Kashi is more than a relationship between a constituency and its representative.
ने मुझे गोद लिया है, काशी से इतना नाता जुड़ गया कि अब मैं कभी भी बोलता हूँ तो यही कहता हूँ मेरी काशी। और इसलिए एक माँ बेटे का जैसा
रिश्ता,
वो रिश्ता मैं मेरी काशी के साथ लोकतंत्र है, नामांकन भी भरेंगे, लोगों से आशीर्वाद भी मांगेंगे।
Talking about the Citizenship Amendment Act, Prime Minister said that the CAA is about providing citizenship to certain religious minorities from the neighboring countries.
हम CAA का कानून लाए, साफ साफ लिखा हुआ है, साफ साफ कहा गया है, न बोलने में किसी ने गलती की है, न लिखने में गलती की है, न देश के कानून में कोई गलती है। सीधा सीधा वो कानून सिटीजनशिप देने के लिए है, उसमें कहीं पर भी सिटीजनशिप लेने का नहीं है।
Getting you more news, an Indian entrepreneur and his Congolese wife have established a food processing factory in the Democratic Republic of Congo's capital, creating job opportunities and serving the local community. Despite the challenge of high food imports in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the couple successfully utilizes local produce to stay competitive. DD India's correspondent Chris Ochamaringa reports on the innovative business ventures from Kinshasa.
A factory with state-of-the-art machines in a country with a lot of infrastructure problems. CV Malukisa is a Congolese entrepreneur who fell in love with Shafiq Nanji, an Indian businessman. The couple's strong entrepreneurial spirit led them to establish this food processing factory in Kinshasa, despite the challenges that many startups face.
We had a lot of difficulties. We had infrastructure problem, we don't have enough electricity, we don't have enough water while we are processing food.
But they've managed to find ways around the numerous challenges in the DRC to keep their company afloat. They are now providing jobs to many young Congolese in a country with a high rate of unemployment.
Our products are all locally sourced. The idea for us being to develop the agro industry in our country. We want to be one of the main players in that field.
CV is the CEO of the company, but she's always out and about meeting the local traders to get the best deals. Her suppliers of raw materials for making peanut butter, chili sauce and jam speak highly about her.
She's my number one client because I know whenever Mama CV arrives, she makes me happy.
CV and her husband have struck the delicate balancing act of separating their love life from their business.
You know, this is something that I guess is not the norm in the African culture or even the Indian culture, where you let the wife lead the business. You know, it's come with its challenges and it's come with its learning curves as well.
The DRC is endowed with an abundance of fertile land for agriculture, but the country spends about $1 billion every year to import basic foodstuffs. CV and Shafiq hope to change that one step at a time.
The economic opportunities in the Democratic Republic of Congo have attracted lots of Indian investors to set up shop here. Many of them have an edge over other foreign investors because they have learnt the local language.
Shafiq, like many Indians in Kinshasa, speaks Lingala. That has helped him to do business with the local population with ease. The Congolese and Indian couple hope to demystify the potential of agriculture and food processing in this country where diamonds, gold, copper and cobalt have been the preferred source of revenue for many. Chris Ochamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
Today marks Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's 163rd birth anniversary. A polymath whose legacy continues to shape literature, music and art, he is celebrated across the globe. Let's take a look at the life of this visionary. DD India's Shreya Mukherjee has filed this report.
A Nobel laureate, Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore has inspired generations. A renowned poet, writer, painter, musician, educationist and social reformer, Tagore wore many hats with grace. Born on the 7th of May 1861 in Kolkata's Jorashako Thakurbari, Tagore was the youngest son of Debendranath Tagore, a prominent figure in the Bengal Renaissance, and Sharoda Devi. His intellectual curiosity developed quite early as he immersed himself into the world of literature and culture. The Bard of Bengal was the first Indian to win the Nobel Prize in 1913 for his book of poems Gitanjali. While he wrote the Indian national anthem Jana Gana Mana in 1911, his song Amar Shonar Bangla is the national anthem of Bangladesh. In his lifetime, Kobi Guru composed over 2200 songs, made more than 2500 paintings and drawings, and wrote several novels, stories, dance dramas, essays, and collection of poems that continues to reverberate around the world. Being in the forefront of the Swadeshi movement during the partition of Bengal in 1905, he advocated boycott of British goods and promoted indigenous products. Tagore took active participation in the Quit India movement. It was Tagore who first addressed Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi as the Mahatma. The polymath also shared a special friendship with Albert Einstein, the father of modern-day physics. In his fight for freedom against the British rule, Tagore emphasized on education for society and nation building. He believed in the perfect blend of Indian and Western culture. Mostly homeschooled, Gurudev never believed in the conventional education system within the confines of the four walls. He established the Vishwabharati University in 1921 that mirrors his ideals. The world poet was awarded knighthood in 1915, a title he renounced in 1919 in protest against the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. On Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's 163rd birth anniversary, let's celebrate the legend and his enduring legacy. Shreya Mukherjee's report for DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Chinese